New year, new signings, and I have high hopes for this beautiful man from Uzbekistan, following which I decided it was time for us to let go of the Ugandan penalty guard. I keep forgetting about the 5-man import limit on matchday squads, so constantly have to drop the 6th man, and it's getting harder and harder to decide who to drop. I'm also constantly getting recommended a striker called Kang, so I pulled up Comparison View and pitted him against my academy striker from a few weeks ago. And honestly, I think I'm just going to stick with what I have. The new kid doesn't seem to be that far behind Kang. I can't fully remember last year's preview, but this one feels less kind somehow. The board then agreed to upgrade our youth facilities again, literally weeks after finishing the last upgrade. These are the first steps towards turning us into the leading developer in China. In my tradition of pre-season friendlies against lower division teams, I decided to throw in a match against Stuttgart. Surprised that they accepted it, and even though we got crushed by them, it was almost actually kind of promising in a weird way. Now, I don't normally show individual results on the pre-season friendlies, but we need to talk about this one. How did we take 30 shots and only win 1-0? And that, right there, is one of the most annoying ways to start a season. What do you mean we threw a 2-goal lead in the last 6 minutes of the match? Breaking tradition, our entry into the cup doesn't put us against a second division side this year. It gives us a team that isn't even in a league that base FM features. We got a game against the last place team in the league, so I decided to start that academy striker to see if he can get his debut goal. He did not. But seeing this social media post after the match did make me laugh. At this point I start to get warned that the defender I bought last summer isn't being played in his preferred position, central defender with a no-nonsense centre-back role. Except I don't understand what his issue is. He is quite literally set to always be played in that specific position with that specific role that he is best rated as. Why isn't this registering as contributing to the promise? In the next 3 matches we were due to face against a top 3 team, the multiple time consecutive league winners who have had an uncharacteristically bad start to the season, and to the new last place team. We lost the first game, then got back-to-back 1-1 draws, and that goal we conceded against the team in last place was atrocious. We then barely scraped through the cup match against the non-league team because I was blindsided by a rule that forbid me from having any foreigners in the matchday squad. Social media, ever the home of the rational-minded, complained after that match about the continuing goal drought from a striker who literally wasn't eligible to play the last 90 minutes. Then, for the second year in a row, our second round in the cup is against a top-flight team. Where did our cup luck go? I then pick up a horrific 3-0 loss to Freetown, and if this match hadn't already pissed me off enough, the 92nd minute straight red card made it so much worse. With my mood already soured, I was finally confronted by the centre-back who wasn't happy that he was being played exactly where he wanted to be played. Funnily enough, our cup tie is against a team we're facing in the league the week before. In the league fixture we succumbed to a nasty 2-2 draw, before following things up with a secure 2-0 win in the cup match. Both games saw goals scored for the striker who was previously on a drought, and that was a huge relief. Now we're going to take a moment to take a good long look at this youngster right here, because he just pulled out this absolutely stunning ball to secure our 3 points in the last minute of the match. At this point we're almost a third of the way into the season and things are close. We are 1 win behind third and 2 losses away from relegation. 21 weeks to go. Game week 10 then sees a lot of goals, some of them great, others far from it. Game week 11 was also a spicy one, and at this point I'm now convinced we'll secure at least a mid-table finish, but optimistically speaking we might be able to sneak our way into the last continental spot. Also, that last match saw one of my academy players pick up his first ever player of the match award, except this was a guy that I genuinely wasn't paying attention to. He was never on my radar. We loaned him out last season and I kept getting notifications that we should recall him because he was good enough to play for us, and I was just like, when the hell did this happen? As a side note, that youth left winger that I highlighted earlier, he's still playing full time for the U19s while getting regular rotations into the senior squad, and he's currently carrying the youth team. Then in a match against the third best team in China we recorded demolition courtesy of a hat-trick from Iono. Our undefeated streak is then ended by a team we're currently tied for points with. And back to happy news immediately. 2 late goals help us salvage a draw against the league leaders. And in case you hadn't noticed before, our home form is very important to us. Then, against a relegation battler, we barely scraped a win. It was very disappointing how on top they were at times. That single goal came courtesy of this gorgeous cross from Iono. We're then thrown back to the other end of the spectrum as we once again face a team on the same points as us, and a very, very big win. Once again, back to facing relegation contenders, and we succumbed to a 1-1 draw where we scored both the goals. But hey, at least that young striker finally got his debut, and this up and down, back and forth continues for yet another week as we face the league leaders on the road and somehow grab a 2-1 win. In the week that followed, we were scheduled to face the current second place team, the team who have won the league consecutively in every single season of this save so far, and despite specifically instructing my U19 coach to not play anybody who was also registered for the senior team, he ignored this instruction, played them all anyway, and therefore I lost my entire bench for a match against one of the toughest possible opponents to face. On top of this, our starting right back is serving a suspension for this game week, and that bitch of a centre back has been rendered unplayable because he started misbehaving. And then to top it all off, the match hasn't even begun, and my left winger finds a way to injure himself. This generates the perfect shitstorm that saw us lose 2-0 and sent the bastards back to first of the league. If they get another title, I swear to God I will be livid. That bitch defender then took the literal first deal to leave us when the summer window began, and he had the nerve to demand compensation from me in order for him to leave after sabotaging us for no reason. I told him to go fuck himself, and repeated that multiple times over the next few weeks. I then give that youth striker another chance to do something against the worst team in the league, and in a literal goals galore match, he does absolutely nothing. That's it. He is years away from being ready. Back down to the U19s you go. Coming into a cup match that I was certain of losing, we were taken to extra time where our substitute winger, yet another youth player, picked up 2 goals to secure that we had advanced to the next round without relying on penalties. Those 2 goals included his very first goal for the senior side in a year where he's missed the majority of the season due to a nasty injury. And thus, the semi-final draw happens, and we're pitted against what is possibly the only team in the Chinese First Division that I have never been able to beat. Just like earlier in the season, this cup tie is drawn the week after we're due to face them in the league, and in the league fixture we managed to secure a very strong 3-3 draw, which was the best result we've ever had in this fixture. I was not exaggerating when I said this is our worst possible matchup. In the brief gap between the 2 ties, my scouts notified me of a Fenerbahce Academy reject who was available on a free, and I figured, how could I possibly turn down this opportunity? I took a gamble on him and oh fuck, it actually worked. We got him on an end of contract free transfer effective immediately because our season is different to Turkey's. I don't have any import slots yet, and defence is the one position where I would have most been able to use an import. I'm now sitting on 7 imports out of a permitted 6. The only one who looks like they're close to leaving is the 34-year-old striker, but he just agreed to a contract extension. And the only import I can think of that's worth selling right now isn't wanted by any of the teams, nor does he want to leave us. It's at this point that I make what is possibly my biggest mistake. Rather than realise I could have just deregistered one of the established imports who is currently underperforming, I left the new defender unregistered and tried to placate him with a place in the youth team for the rest of the season, and it does not work. As the transfer window continues, a league rival decided that they wanted the striker that I've given up on as a loanee, so fuck it, let's see what they do with him. Now as the semi-final plays out, I very much feel like we are the deserved losers here, and I'm fine with this. We will wait another year to try and overcome our demons. In happier news, we secure a win in the next league match, and that, with 7 games to spare, sees us record my highest ever points total in the Chinese Super League. We're still only 1 win behind the continental qualifications. This feels very possible. Of course it's possible. We jump up to 4th after the next match, albeit not everyone else has played their game for this round yet, so we might still get pushed back down. And let's just take a moment to appreciate that this was the only goal that was scored in a match against one of the league's weakest teams. Wow. The next day, everybody else finishes their fixtures for this week, and this confirms that we are legitimate continental contenders now. Another 3-2 win maintains our position, and then 2 very late goals in a match that made for very stressful watching keeps us very close to the top. Then right before the youth intake arrives, our winning streak ends in a 1-1 draw. When I check out this year's youth intake, honestly, it's not the year for me. Then in a really cruel move, I terminated a youth player's trial the minute that he broke his ribs, rather than take the time to treat him for this injury. And right after this cruel display, we are rewarded with a 2-1 away win that sees us qualify for next season's Champions League. Elsewhere, the striker I gave up on scored his first goal at his loan club. And finally, to wrap up the season, we lose our final match to a team that was short of continental spots by 2 points. But it's fine, because our position was always secure. However, what isn't fine by me is that the reigning champions retained their title by 2 points. We gifted them the title, specifically because we gave them 3 points for free right after we took away 3 from their direct competition. Try to run away from how maddening this is with the comfort of reports that we've broken records, and we received a very pleasant financial surprise at the end of the year. Our net debt decreases to 16 million, and somehow this upgrades our financial status from insecure to okay. Finally truly got a very good future ahead of us with a solid squad. As long as we're able to hold on to the core, we can start building something for the long term. If we can repeat these sorts of results next year, we could find ourselves in a position of having players wanting to be with us, on merit. We could become perceived as a top team. However, there is one thing still bothering me. Fenerbahce, the reject that we picked up. We're about to go into the winter transfer window and he is still rightfully unhappy that we signed him and didn't register him. I'm hoping that in the window that follows I can find space for him, especially because I can see room to move one or two of the other imports on. It's just a matter of if I can convince him to stick around through this window. In the worst case scenario, we signed him on a free and he has a 2 million buyout clause. Even if we lose him without him ever stepping foot on the pitch for us, we make a profit and we can use that to fund other talents, right? Right?